How's it going, y'all? So today, I was a little excited, I guess, and I didn't want to wait until July to release the July rental codes. So that's what I've got for you today. I've got 5 new rental codes, and it definitely feels like it's time. I mean, we probably should, release the. We did release the NAIC team right yesterday, so there's that. And the format is just, it needs a switch up for me. Like, I'd like a new format in general because it's been like, we've been in this format forever. But, at least we can try to just keep building fun things and try to wait it out until we get to something new. But, I do appreciate those of you who have been supporting me recently, even though this format has been going on very long, and I think we're all getting a little tired of it at times. But because we did recently hit 251 and above, I think we're at like about 252 right now, which is why I named my teams 252. In order to celebrate that, I built 2 Johto legendary teams this time, even though it's only 251 Pokemon for Johto, but we're as boys, and you guys get it. So I built a Lugia and a Ho-Oh team, just for fun, I mean, I honestly don't think the teams are perfect, but like, I just wanted to build them, and you may notice that they're actually both Life Orb Lugia and Ho-Oh. But when I was running calcs, I just kind of realized that you can technically, like, get away with just running Life Orb on Lugia, and you can still pick up crucial KOs like Electroweb plus Max Quake into Zacian. So I'm really not that worried about it, let's say. At least I hope. So yeah, thank you to those of you who support me. Thank you to those of you who will support me in the future by subscribing if you are not already subscribed, and things of that nature, because, I appreciate. So here's the team. And this team is honestly, like, just really about trying to set up the legendaries for the most part. I mean, Regieleki also is very viable as another offensive option, which is nice, but yeah, the Lugia and the Ho-Oh teams, they're really a lot about, like, getting the legendaries to do the work. So we do have the Amoonguss here to just kind of rage powder away if we want to make either Lugia last longer or try to start setting up Xerneas. We also have Incineroar to just do Incineroar things, intimidate, fake out, switch back out, do that again like 20 times, I mean, at least that's what it's supposed to do, right? And then we just have a Regieleki, which is really for speed moderation more than anything. If I don't want to lead like Sableye Lugia or something, for example, I can lead Regieleki Lugia and click like Electroweb Max Airstream or Electroweb Max Quake, whatever I need. This Lugia is also trained to be 1 speed faster than Landorus, so it's actually a fast Lugia, and with that Life Orb, I mean, I didn't check the calc for if it needed the Life Orb, it probably didn't, honestly, but like, it was between that and Weakness Policy, and not using Weakness Policy gives me the chance to run Foul Play and Fake Out on Sableye instead of, like, necessitating Shadow Sneak, which, I mean, Shadow Sneak has its benefits too, let's be honest, because it puts you in a better position against Calyrex, but we also have Incineroar. So, you gotta weigh your options. It's a Sash, Sableye, things like that, you know what I mean? As Quash, it's as boys. And what I was trying to say is, yeah, I mean, we can definitely just max Hailstorm a Landorus if we need to, and, like, I don't think they're necessarily going to expect it. A lot of people are going to think Landorus is a really good lead against this team because, I might lead like Regieleki Lugia against a Landorus, and they're like, oh, like, what are you doing? And I'm like, yeah, exactly, my guy. Like, but, the Sableye set is really great. I do think Sableye has the ability to make some of the more niche legendaries more viable. like, you know, Kyurem White. And maybe we can make it work really well with Lugia too. That would be my hopes, because, you know, technically if I like Quash Max Quake, I can bulk up before something does a lot more like damage to me and things like that. So we will see what happens, but I like the idea of not having to set up with weakness policy. Then, secondly, we've got my NAIC team, which I did not do perfectly with. I went 3-6 in the NAIC. I went 4-4 in Milwaukee with a version of this team that had Gastrodon over Landorus, but I also went top 16 in the Evergrande circuit out of like 100 people with this team with like 1 or 2 different moves. So, you know, it really is all about just like playing well. And, you know I don't always do that perfectly, and I do apologize for if I ever get in, you know, I get in my mood like when I'm playing bad, but you know, I'm working on it, and I know you guys appreciate watching me think through what I should have done, hopefully, like, and I don't know, like, it helps us all grow, is ultimately the point, right? But, so, Zacian, Calyrex, just a great duo because, you know, they're ultimately legendaries that were made for this format, you know? They like Dynamax format. This is great for them. Like, they excel in this format. So, not only are they 2 of the fastest legendaries in the format, they are the 2 fastest legendaries in the format, but they just, you know, they work really well in the format. So, yeah, we've got pretty standard Zacian. Jolly outspeeds Adamant by 1. We have a Will-O-Wisp and Taunt Calyrex, which can be really good for catching people off guard, if you can get away with playing a little passively. Then we've got Life Orb Cinderace, which is faster than Thundurus, which is like probably the fastest non-legendary offense Pokemon being used right now. If somebody is gonna Dynamax something that's not a legendary or Regieleki, it's probably slower than Thundurus or Thundurus speed. So that's the one thing that Cinderace really has going for it, is that it's really fast. So it's the, you know, one of the fastest non-legendary Dynamax options that has this amount of damage output right now, even with a -1 attack. You know what I mean? It packs a big punch, even when intimidated, and it can get you those airstream boosts before the, you know, Thunduruses can, which can be really crucial. Not that, you know, many Pokemon on this team really need it, right? Like, maybe Landorus, but everything else is faster than Cinderace. So, like, technically you could have gotten away with having, like, slower legendaries on this team being benefited by max airstream of Cinderace, but, you know, it definitely works. And so, you know, for example, I never actually had a, like, versus a Groudon, a better Dynamax option for damage output than, like, Cinderace, for example. Like, yes, I can lead Landorus and try to intimidate them and do, like, max Quake or max Airstream type of things, but if I really needed damage output, like we saw in Game 5 of yesterday's video, I can just lead, like, Calyrex Cinderace or Zacian Cinderace and click, you know, Behemoth Blade, G-Max Pyro Ball, like, Behemoth Blade, or Astral Barrage Pyro Ball. And, you know, the reason I obviously yesterday didn't lead Zacian was because they had a Rotom Heat, and, you know, we saw the amount of damage it does. Like, there's a reason. So, yeah, Cinderace, it's honestly really clutch, and it was never, like, Cinderace's fault that the team wasn't performing up to what it needed. Like, yes, there are times where Gastrodon is better, yes, there are times where Landorus is better, and ultimately that's part of the reason why people drop things like Cinderace for a more conventional team with, like, Gastrodon and Landorus, or, like, Gastrodon, Landorus, and Rillaboom over Grimmsnarl, or, like, Incineroar over Grimmsnarl. But this variant, I think, has a lot of potential, and it's all about playing to your outs, but at the same time, I think if people knew exactly what the team was going to go for, they would play defensively enough. So, you know, there is things like that. And maybe that's why, you know, I had to play like really hard to win my best of threes in the thing, and I didn't always do that. So, moving on, you know, we do have switch outs for ground moves. We have switch outs for electric moves, not that we necessarily need it. We have answers for Calyrex with like priority sucker punches and tricks and things like that. I will think about making definitely a team report for this team. I don't know if I'm going to make a team report for every team for the month, but you can expect a team report for this team within a few days, definitely. And, you know, this team does have a lot of great things it can do with Grimmsnarl, being able to, like, trick Iron Ball or Thunder Wave, having dual speed moderation and Fake Out. And so, you know, you're really able to do a lot with, like, Trick Max Darkness one-shotting Calyrex. Trick G-Max Pyroball can one-shot a Regieleki, and things like that, you know. So, the team has some things going for it, for sure. And, you know, we have the White Orb Landorus, we have the Assault Vest Thundurus. Thundurus, you know, warding away intimidates or punishing them that might be trying to intimidate Zacian or Cinderace. So, you have quite a bit of ways that you can play with this team. Common leads being, you know, Grimmsnarl plus anything, Calyrex plus Cinderace or Thundurus if you need to, like, try to be more offensive right off the bat, or, like, Zacian plus one of them. Very rare to lead Zacian Calyrex, but it can definitely be done. Landorus is really great into Sun matchups because without Landorus, I was actually auto losing to Sun, which isn't good. So now that we have Landorus, I actually can beat Sun decently well. So moving on from this, because I feel like I talked a lot about like the team in general and not like leads, but I don't want to spend too long on it because I don't want to make it a super long video. Let's go on to this Ho-Oh team. So we are actually running a special Ho-Oh. You could definitely argue for like Solar Beam over Ancient Power maybe, but you know, we have enough grass answers to like Gastrodon to not deal with that. You could also argue for maybe like Seed Bomb on Calyrex over Protect maybe, but I just kind of felt like, I don't know, like if you bulk up, you're hopefully fine. But whereas the Lugia team is really kind of about supporting but also staying fast, this team is about supporting but also, you know, for the most part trying to go slow. I think we could maybe do something silly like a Scarf Raichu on this team with, you know, the Brutal Swing, E-Webs, Nuzzle, and Volt Switch, or like Charm or something. But, you know, when I did the Scarf Raichu, I really missed having Fake Out on Raichu a lot because it is one of the fastest Fake Out users in the format. So, you know, you do have that. And people are really gonna think that you have the weakness policy on Ho-Oh if you do, you know, have this Raichu Ho-Oh core. And it's going to throw people off and, you know, make them expect the Calyrex a little less, but at the same time we do have Moltres, which can Sucker Punch. Something I thought about is another alt variant of this team that you could do is you could do a Citrus Berry Moltres and a Assault Vest Rillaboom with fast Rillaboom that outspeeds Groudon and Wood Hammer as your fourth move over Protect. I think that would actually be really good, and potentially just like a very, very viable option to, let's say, like a Charizard Groudon lead, you know, like you could just click Wood Hammer, Max, Rockfall, and they wouldn't really have that much answers to that, assuming that they, I don't know, like don't make the right play. Like, no, yeah, they would destroy you. So just ignore me, like, because my Ho-Oh is slow, and that's what it's made to do. And So this is fine, I guess, for now. Like, I think this should work. I like being able to protect Rillaboom. It doesn't survive a Behemoth Blade, I don't think, anymore, which is one of the disbenefits. But, you know, Ho-Oh can take 2 Behemoth Blades and hopefully still have at least over 10% left. So, there is that. I think this team could benefit from having redirection. That's kind of the one thing we don't have going for us, is that technically still Regieleki, Calyrex is still a good lead against this team, right? And so we do have to be careful about things like that, but, you know, you also have, like, Moltres to deal with that, right? Because if you lead, like, Moltres Mimikyu and somebody leads Regieleki Calyrex, now you're putting them in a rough position where you say, like, are you going to try to deny me Trick Room this turn and double attack me, where I can just Shadow Sneak Sucker Punch your Calyrex? Or are you going to think that, you know, this is a really bad position for Calyrex and maybe I should just protect, in which case I get Trick Room? So, I mean, it doesn't introduce a mental game you necessarily want to play, but it introduces a mental game that gives you options to definitely, like, be able to beat your opponent, which is nice. We are running the special Ho-Oh with Life Orb and Regenerator and Recover. My real thought process here being that, you know, I don't like being intimidated, because if I ran as a physical Ho-Oh, this team would pretty much auto lose to Incineroar, and you definitely don't want that on a team. So, you know, we do have a special Ho-Oh that should honestly do quite a bit of damage with max Rockfall to a Incineroar, which is really nice. You can do something in front of Incineroar, like just lead Ho-Oh Mimikyu, you know, and click like max Rockfall Trick Room, and that can hopefully one-shot them. I actually don't think it's guaranteed. I'd need to run the calc. And it just gives you a little more leverage though, right? So I did have to make it more special attack invested in order to actually OHKO Zacians with Flamethrower. That's just the price you have to pay. But, you know, it has a lot of HP investment and a lot of special attack investment. We also have the weakness policy Calyrex. I just felt like, even though they are both weak to rock, there is a way in which, just like Reshiram and Calyrex go good together, Ho-Oh and Calyrex can also do that. We've got the Brutal Swing Raichu to set off the weakness policy. We've got Sucker Punch. We've got Shadow Sneak. We've got Trick Room. And we have Rillaboom to be good against Kyogre in more ways than one, besides Woodhammer. So, you know, if we didn't have Rillaboom, this team would be very bad against a Kyogre. And that's ultimately my thought process with this team. So, yeah, I like it. I think it looks fun. I think I'm going to have to really get used to this Lugia and Ho-Oh team before I can say they're actually, like, very good. They're, at this point in my mind, the lesser of the teams this month, but they're really to celebrate, right? So, you know, thank you to you guys for supporting me. Or just showing me that, you know, you enjoy, I don't know, you know what I'm saying. So now we've got a Zacian Kyogre Regigigas team here, where the real idea is that Zacian and Kyogre both put on a lot of threat in an endgame, and so a very good comp is always going to be like Weezing, Regigigas, Zacian, Kyogre if you do have the chance to put on that amount of pressure. It's a great ability to have an option to. But there are obviously things that are faster than Regigigas, and that makes you unable to essentially do that all the time, right? And that's why we now have Regieleki instead of Thundurus, so that, you know, if we do want to play fast, you know, we can technically go like Regieleki Zacian, Regieleki Kyogre, and just play more into that fast side of things, right? We have Helping Hand on Whims if we want to do like a Choice Scarf Kyogre Whimsicott lead, catch someone off guard, and just click Helping Hand Water Spout and one-shot a bunch of things. So, you know, we've got fun. We've definitely got fun on this team. I would say this is a really solid team. Like, I'm not super comfortable playing with a team like this, but I did think about bringing this team to NAIC, and I think it actually probably would have done quite a lot if we're being honest. But you know, we had fun no matter what. I had a really good time, and you know, I'm just saying this team it looks really good if we're being honest. So obviously you have the Wheezing Reggie lead. We also have Whims Reggie. I mean, so what's the one thing now is that you don't have a good switch out for ground moves anymore, and that's kind of the problem. But you also have Kyogre, which like, what is Landorus gonna do here? You know what I mean? So, I mean, that's why Pokemon is about positioning. Like, if they get rid of my Kyogre, we have a bad time against ground moves a little more, but like, we also have answers for it. And yeah, I mean, you can also do things like lead Whims Zacian, Whims Kyogre. Eliki is great as a physical Eliki because it does allow us to speed moderate with Zacian and Kyogre. So, right, like, I can also lead Max Airstream, Choice. It's technically why you don't actually need Choice Scarf Kyogre on this team. Like, I could actually just use a Mystic Water Kyogre probably, and an Electroweb or anything like that, and still get the same benefit. But if we don't want to bring Regieleki because we want to lead Wheezing Regigigas with Zacian and Kyogre, that's why you still have Choice Scarf being useful. So this is a really good team, honestly, and I hope that you guys try this one and let me know what you think. So, yeah. Last, we've got so besides the Lugia and Ho-Oh team, I'm giving you the 3 teams that I thought about bringing to NAIC. So, the Regigigas team, the Cinderace team I actually brought, and I brought it really because I was the most comfortable with it, and because I know Zacian and Calyrex are good Pokemon. This team is a dual mode fast or slow Dialga Yveltal team. So we've got a Assault Vest Yveltal with a Life Orb Dialga, where this Dialga it hits freaking really hard. It outspeeds Regieleki and Tailwind by 1, which does mean, unfortunately, that you're not going to outspeed Venusaur, but that's why we have Taunt, right? So we're really not that worried about it. So, you know, we've got what we need on this team. I did think about taking Tornadus off for a slower Dialga and Torkoal, and that made my matchup versus Calyrex Ice plus like Gothitelle, for example, a lot more solid. Or I guess it was actually like Cali Ice versus Amoonguss, or Cali Ice Amoonguss is what I'm trying to say, or something like that. Like, gets literally dumpstered by Dialga Torkoal lead, or like Yveltal Torkoal. So, you know, we've got our fair share of options on this team. Like, yeah, you could go for the Torkoal, but this team being dual mode and still having Dialga slow enough to like be good in Trick Room if you do need to underspeed like Kyogres and things like that, like, it really works super well. So like, I think there's actually ways in which if I was okay with pushing myself towards less comfortability, I could have maybe done even better in the NAIC with either this team or the Regigigas team. So kind of in the sense of like kind of in the sense of how Pokemon Unite has Pokemon that are more like novice to expert level, right? I think the Calyrex Zacian team is more on like an intermediate level of play in difficulty, where like it's a pretty decent team. It can definitely do things, and it's not like really hard to pilot. Whereas these teams are a little harder to pilot in a best of 3, but if you know how to do them, they can perform on an expert rank, right? Kind of like you know, like Absol and Greedent and like things like that in Pokemon Unite. You know what I mean? So like, I think this team and the Regigigas team have expert level potential, but they do come with that cost of being like, you have to be better at piloting them and really knowing what you're doing, right? But this is a solid team. I really like this team. We originally, I think, had Porygon 2 taken off for Rotom Heat when I was using this team in the USPA a few months ago, and I just felt like actually introducing that Trick Room side of the team provides quite a bit of benefit to you. So, you know, yes, we have Storm Drain Boys, we have Tornadus and Yveltal to switch out for electric or ground moves. We have Gastrodon to switch out for electric moves. We have, you know, Dialga to moderately switch out for ice moves if we need, or like to just tank hits from Kyogre. So it's a really solid team. You know, your common leads are obviously going to be things like Rillaboom Porygon, Tornadus Dialga, Rillaboom Dialga, Rillaboom Yveltal, Tornadus Yveltal, Porygon 2 Yveltal. And so, I mean, I think this team is really solid, and I feel like I'm starting to ramble, but, you know, ultimately that's what we got for the month, you know? So, I think if I was to rank these teams, I would definitely say, I mean, this might be number 1, if we're being honest. Like, this might be the number 1 team for the month, with this coming at number 2 just because of the ease of access with, like, playing paired with the fact that it actually can do quite a bit of things. Number 3, and almost, like, tied up, and, like, with the ability to surpass this team, I would put this. And then these two, pretty hard for me to say which one I think is better. I think these teams definitely have things that they can do. I just don't personally feel like I've practiced them enough to say, like, yeah, these are super solid teams. Like, I think they're obviously using suboptimal legendaries to some degree, and, you know, they can do things. I'm gonna just be honest about that. Like, these teams can definitely do what they need to do. It's just, like, you need to learn how to play them. I really like the Sableye on this team. I really like the Raichu, Rillaboom. I like the back 4 on this. Like, so, I mean, we'll have to see how it goes, but thank y'all for tuning in. If you're not already supporting me, you know, consider giving a like and subscribe. I appreciate. Let me know if I should, like, I don't know. I'm thinking. I wanna build a business in San Francisco and do something. So I'm gonna figure it out. But okay. Peace out, y'all.